Oh, whoops, crap. All right, guys, welcome back to the ALGS channel. Hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day so far. I'll leave the blooper in because why not? You know, it's not that big of a deal, but do have a couple things I want to make mention of. Not necessarily a massive video or a big update, but I do have a couple key points that I want to point out, like what's going on with the Sweet roster. Of course, they did scrim last night. Who did they play with? How are things looking? What are some of the results from the first official scrim that we got last night? Minus Tempo obviously putting these on with oversight. We got Group A versus Group B, which is going to be your day one Pro League match as well. So of course, these matchups are important. And honestly, the winner was a little surprising for me because they did not necessarily do that great in the offseason. So shout out to them as well. Also going to go over some of the official like graph pages that we have that Minus Tempo put together for drop spots and also rosters as well, and some of the statuses of these rosters, and even a team name change that I want to talk about also. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date all things ALGS related. And without further ado, let's dive into what's going on. Firstly, not necessarily a massive deal, but you'll notice, especially in the results from or later in the video, that there's a team called the Gromps, right? That was a Furia roster previously with Zera, Alberlelli, and Panders. Of course, Alberlelli's not on that roster anymore, but they're now called Third Group Chat. So they have changed their name officially, like not just like going, hey, we're gonna go, you know, they have officially filed their team name change with Battlefy, and they are now called Third Group Chat. So you know, I'm not surprised, especially with Zera. Zera's always a memer, so very interested to see how this roster obviously performs. Also wanted to mention the big one. This is coming from the scrim results last night. Minus Tempo obviously put these on, like I said, the first official scrims. But not only that, you also had this will be the first match for Pro League as well, coming up in a couple of weeks. Now, Group A versus Group B. Of course, this is the TSM, the Sweet and Friends roster, and then you've got the DarkZero, League of Legends, all those guys. So the results were as follows. DarkZero obviously taking your first place victory on the night, which I thought was pretty impressive because, like I said earlier in the video, these guys have actually been struggling in the off season. Like well, maybe not struggling, but like they just haven't looked like typical DarkZero, right? They haven't been dominating. They haven't been consistently winning, or even that consistently in the top 5. And so everybody was worried about DarkZero, right? Like who's going to be their prominent third? Because you look at Zainu and it's really hard to upgrade from someone like Zainu. And the only people I could think of were probably Koifel, probably Guild maybe, or maybe even like Verhulst or something. But of course, Verhulst is not going anywhere. But this is where you look at Sykes. And of course, Sykes, we know, is going to DarkZero from a lot of Twitter drama and a lot of like tweets that we've looked at in the past. He's been playing with DarkZero for quite some time. And honestly, with everybody left, I do think that Sykes is probably the best option to go with. And I think that Sykes overall is just in general a good option. But I think that when it comes to raw firepower, mechanics, whatever, maybe you look at Koifel and think that he could have been better. But I do think that people underrate how good it is to have an overall good player. And I think Sykes overall is a lot better than what people give him credit for. So if they can file and dial in this, like, you know, synchronization with one another and really get together and really start playing with each other, you know, well, then I'm going to be impressed by this roster because I think that their potential is still super high. I know everybody's just going to look at, you know, those montages and think that Koifel is the only good thing in the world, but there's some other great players out there that people still need to pay a lot more attention to. So DarkZero first place, TSM in second, no surprise there. They actually were getting triple contested, I think, not triple contested, but contested 3 games in a row at Lava Siphon by the new Temper squad coming from the PSQ, and that did not go well. As you can see, GKS in third place, which is a big win. If you guys don't know this roster, it's another PSQ roster, and this is the one where Sleepy Panda is going to the substitute spot. It seems like after he qualified, they pick up Stay Naughty, and so right now it seems like it's Chaotic Much, Stay Naughty, and Sorcerer, of course. And to get third place as a PSQ team, very impressive. And of course, don't forget, Chaotic Much was dropped from Elevate, and he's placing above Elevate now, so I know it feels good for him as a competitor as well. Elevate obviously in the top 4 here, good stuff from them, and they've been one of those teams that we've been looking at constantly doing good in PSQ stuff. Whenever they get in a Pro League, obviously it's a lot harder, so would like to see them find some consistency here as well. So good on them. Also, Native Gaming is a squad that I think a lot of people just kind of define as mid, so to see them, you know, kind of climb their way back up and even win a game I saw last night, good on them, and hopefully they can continue it as well. Now on the downside here, you do have a lot of these PSQ teams unfortunately at the bottom not doing good, and even the Sweet and Friends roster, I don't think people were expecting this, right? You have this new roster that they're going into. Well, maybe some. I know a lot of people actually still discredit this roster, and if you're wondering what that roster is, of course, well, they did get 17th place with only 19 points yesterday, but their official roster was as follows, and that is the Funk, that is the Slayer, and that is the Sweet roster. Now, we did anticipate this, but a lot of people were like, oh wait, if Nathan's involved, maybe he's playing. And pretty much everyone knew to some degree that it was going to be Funk and Slayer. that are going to be transferring over from the Stallions to the NRG Pro League spot so that they keep the better seating here. Now, like I said, it just simply did not go good for these guys, but just like you have with the DarkZero stuff in the offseason where they struggled, they didn't necessarily look dominant. This is another roster that I think is going to need time. They're going to need a lot more, they're going to need to be able to get in sync, because all these other guys have probably, to some degree, they've played a lot of reps with one another. They played a lot of ranked with one another. Like even this Furia roster, right? Madness, Keon, and Watson. These guys have played a lot of ranked with one another. And so they are really, really in sync to some degree. And of course, you know that they are probably going to have a lot more success when it comes to that as well. So then you have the DarkZero. They kind of struggle with the same thing, not necessarily looking amazing, and then as time goes on, they start to find their groove a little bit. And so maybe just got to give them a chance, give Sweet and Friends a chance as they try to find their way and find their identity as well. And also, I'm not sure if they were contested last night, but contest is a big one, because contesting with a new roster where you're not necessarily in sync, it can be absolutely detrimental. And if you're going up against a team that is really confident in their contest and has a lot more experience with playing with one another, it's going to be basically fighting an uphill battle. And so I would not go crazy yet just because of one bad performance. Give them a little bit more time. This roster still has plenty of potential. I think most of us that actually know these players believe that they will find some success. Also wanted to mention, though, the Gromps, which is the third group chat team. Notice that they're playing with Snipe Down. I kind of know this has been going on for a while, but we haven't really spoke about it that much, which I think is a little unfortunate or a little crazy, because I think Snipe Down, Panders, and Zera on paper is still one of those squads that's like, oh, you know, you would just assume that they're going to be signed by an organization, and the fact that they're not just kind of shows a little bit of a weird side of Apex Legends comp. But honestly, I think that if this team can find their groove, they'll also be another one. And I know people give Snipe Down a lot of hate because, you know, he's a little bit older, or maybe people don't think he's as cracked, but don't forget how well that they did place at LAN with Snipe Down on the roster on that FaZe squad. Obviously, there's still a lot of potential there as well. If I say as well one more time, I'm going to cut my tongue out. All right, lastly, I want to give you guys a little bit of a schedule. First, of course, I told you yesterday we would be starting our first scrim results, and we did get that yesterday. Today, we're going Group A versus Group C. Tomorrow, Group B versus Group C. And then on the weekends, no scrims whatsoever. We'll be starting the first official Pro League matches on January the 21st, which is on a Sunday. And there's many places you can watch this. Of course, the scrims, I think Nice Week's doing a watch party. I think Oversight's going to be doing something as well. But on the Pro League matches as well, not only will you have those outlets, but I'm also probably going to be watch partying as well. If you guys want to see me do it on Twitch or do it on this YouTube channel, whatever, let me know. But I do want to probably even get some guests on as well to talk about some of these matches. But in general, want to do watch parties for the Pro League matches this year. So let me know what you think down below. Of course, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date all things Apex Legends esports related. And until the next time, we will see you all later, Gators.